The first weapon was a rock. The latest weapon can destroy a city in 0.3 seconds. Between those 2 points lies the entire history of human civilization. War is the engine that has driven more technological innovation, more political change, and more human suffering than any other force in history. Every major transformation in how humans organize themselves, from empires to democracies, from feudalism to nation-states, was driven by war or the threat of war. And every transformation in weapons changed not just how wars were fought, but who won them, who lost them, and what kind of societies survived. This is that story. The earliest evidence of organized warfare comes from Jebel Sahaba in Sudan, dating to roughly 13,000 years ago. A cemetery containing 59 skeletons, men, women, and children, shows stone projectile points embedded in bones and positioned to indicate death by violence. This was not a single murder. It was a massacre, organized, deliberate, and very old. Before agriculture, wars were probably territorial disputes between nomadic bands. Small, brutal, and frequent. The weapons were spears, clubs, rocks, and eventually the bow and arrow, which, when it appeared roughly 70,000 years ago, was the first weapon that allowed killing at a distance. This was revolutionary. You no longer had to be stronger than your enemy. You just had to be more accurate. The invention of agriculture around 10,000 BC created something new. Surplus. Stored grain. Permanent settlements. Things worth stealing. And with surplus came the first armies, organized groups of men whose job was to protect the surplus or take someone else's. The first military revolution came from bronze. Around 3300 BC, the peoples of Mesopotamia discovered how to alloy copper and tin into bronze, harder, sharper, and more durable than stone. Bronze swords, spearheads, and armor made organized armies devastatingly effective against those who lacked them. The first great empires, Sumer, Akkad, Egypt, the Hittites, were bronze empires. But bronze had a weakness. Tin is rare. You needed long-distance trade networks to get it. When those networks collapsed, as they did spectacularly around 1200 BC during the Bronze Age collapse, entire civilizations fell. Iron solved the tin problem. Iron ore is everywhere. By 900 BC, iron weapons had become standard across the Mediterranean and Near East. Iron was not harder than the best bronze, but it was far more available. Any village with a forge could arm its warriors. This democratized warfare. It was no longer only great empires that could field effective armies. The Greeks refined infantry warfare to an art. The phalanx, a tight formation of heavily armored soldiers carrying long spears and interlocking shields, dominated Mediterranean warfare for centuries. At Marathon in 490 BC, 10,000 Athenians defeated 25,000 Persians using superior phalanx tactics. At Thermopylae in 480 BC, 300 Spartans and 7,000 allied Greeks held a narrow pass against 100,000 to 300,000 Persians for 3 days. The genius of the phalanx was discipline. Individual skill mattered less than collective coordination. The army that held its formation won. The army that broke ran and died. Alexander the Great took the phalanx further. His Macedonian sarissa, a 6-meter pike, outreached any opposing weapon. Combined with heavy cavalry charges on the flanks, Alexander's army conquered from Greece to India in 13 years. He never lost a battle. Rome replaced the phalanx with the legion. The Roman legionary fought with a short sword, the gladius, and a large shield, in a more flexible formation that could adapt to terrain and enemy tactics. Where the phalanx was rigid, the legion was modular. Centuries of 3 maniples each could be rearranged mid-battle. This flexibility, combined with relentless discipline and the most advanced military engineering in the ancient world, roads, bridges, siege equipment, fortified camps built every single night on the march, made Rome the dominant military power for 500 years. The fall of Rome and the rise of mounted warfare changed everything again. The stirrup, arriving in Europe around the 8th century from Central Asia, transformed the horse from a platform into a weapon system. A rider with stirrups could swing a sword, thrust a lance, or fire a bow without falling off. Heavy cavalry, armored knights on armored horses, dominated European warfare for 700 years. But the real masters of mounted warfare were not European knights. They were the Mongols. Genghis Khan's army in the early 1200s was the most effective military force the world had ever seen. Every Mongol soldier could ride 100 kilometers per day, fire a composite bow accurately from horseback at full gallop, and survive on mare's blood and dried meat for weeks. They used psychological warfare, massacring entire cities to create terror